We have a great guest in our studio right now, Mendy Harlow from the Salmon Center.
Welcome, Mindy.
Thank you.
So the southwestern part of Washington and the Olympics is experiencing record low flows in the streams. So
Got a little drought going on, they call
We
it.
sure do.
yeah, why is that a problem for the salmon?
Well, the biggest problem right now is that there are a lot of juvenile salmon who live in our streams, not just during the wintertime, but also in the summer. And so those juvenile salmon get isolated in pools, and those pools oftentimes get extreme high temperatures in them. And so when the water has a higher temperature, it has a more difficult time holding oxygen. And as we all know, fish use their gills to get oxygen from the water in order to survive. And if those pools become depleted of oxygen, the fish end up dying. So another problem is that as the adults come in to spawn, their passage into their spawning grounds may be disrupted by these low flows. So they won't be able to access all the habitat that they need to spawn and survive.
That's not
So those
good.
are the two big problems. But also, high stream temperatures can also lead to more disease in fish. So as we all maybe remember from our high school chemistry classes, reactions happen faster at higher temperatures. And so all those bacteria that live in the water will thrive more when the water temperature is high.
Oh,
So those are the real big problems with fish.
So when was the last drought that we had here in
Yeah.
Washington?
The last major drought we had was in 2015, so it was really only 3 years ago. And that year we had significantly low rain from about February on in through the summer. We didn't have another significant bout of rain until October of that year.
wow.
So this year it's a little bit different. We did have good measurable rainfall in March and in April, but then in May we had very low precipitation and high temperatures, which melted a lot of the snowpack in the Olympics. So we did get a little bit of recovery throughout the month of June, but then we've been pretty dry again July and then of course in August, which is normal. So usually in Western Washington we get kind of a drought in the months of July, August, and September.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But not as significant as it is this year and as it was in 2015.
Yeah, and I don't see any rain in the forecast, so.
No, we got a little bit over the weekend, but it really wasn't enough to
Not
make
enough.
a big difference.
Yeah, we need a big rain cloud coming through here.
Yeah. So really, we have a lot of folks who live on stream sides in our area, and there are some things that folks can do to kind of help the fish and also help wildlife, because it's not just a problem for fish, it's also a problem for wildlife. So as we have large animals come in out of the mountains seeking water, because the mountains are pretty dry right now, we have a bigger chance of like those negative interactions between large predators or deer and folks living in the cities and along stream sides. So there are some things you can do that can help prevent this being a problem. So with birds and with fish, you can also kind of help provide a water source for them. So for birds, providing a bird bath would help prevent them from drowning in like water buckets or in your watering can.
Okay.
So oftentimes birds will try to seek water out of a bucket, fall in, and end up drowning.
Oh,
if you
wow, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you live along the stream side, you should watch out for folks who have created rock dams in the water. So a lot of times people create those rock dams in order to make a swimming hole or just pool up the water. And those aren't really great for juveniles trying to migrate up and down the stream, but also for adults as they're trying to come in to spawn.
When I lived in a house out kind of by Lake Limerick area when I was a little younger, and I can remember the culvert by our house. I didn't live near a stream or anything, but the culvert by my house always had like rocks or clumps of grass just stuck in there, or even just the grass grew up and have it blocked off.
Right.
So I can only imagine culverts near a stream can probably get plugged too.
Yeah, for sure. And we've been making a lot of progress making those culverts larger so that they can pass debris. But there still is a chance that logs will rack up or grass will grow up around it, and so it'll prevent that flow of water through
Now,
the culvert that you
should
want.
people be proactive themselves if that's near them? Like go out there and move those logs or move that grass, or
It's better
or
to
should they
report it.
call you? Okay.
Yeah, so it's better to report it. If it's a county
Okay.
culvert, it's good to report it to Public Works, and
Okay.
they can come out and help out with that problem. But if someone has created a rock dam on your property, or you see one, it'd be good to remove some of those rocks to
Okay.
increase the flow. But you can also report it to the Department of Fish and Wildlife or to our organization, and we can help out.
Oh, very cool.
And if you see stranded fish, so fish in a pool, you can also report that to either to the Department of Fish and Wildlife or to the Salmon Center, and we can put the right people in place to save those fish.
So what's the difference between a beaver dam and, I guess, a
Yeah.
human-made dam?
Right. So, beavers create dams and actually really good habitat for a lot of those fish that do live in the fresh water for multiple years, because it's really deep pools of water, so the stream temperatures in those pools can be quite low, and they also have a lot of woody debris in there that provides shade for the fish that live in there. So basically beavers have been living there for many, many years, creating these pools, and the salmon know that they're going to be there. They're expected, and they'll actually use them as refuge during the hot months. But rock dams are typically much more shallow water, and they'll show up just overnight or during the day, and so the fish aren't used to having them there.
Oh, yes. Kind of confuses them probably.
Right.
Now, silly question. Do beavers eat salmon?
No,
Okay,
no.
good.
So beavers are in the class of animals called rodentia, so they're actually rodents,
Oh.
and so they eat vegetation.
Did not know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're just a big rodent with a flat
Yeah.
tail, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
See, I'm learning something every day out here.
And this isn't just a problem for salmon.
Right, yeah. So it is a problem for lots of other animals too. So a lot of times during the drought months, we'll have bears and other large animals like cougar come out of the mountains looking for water. And so we'll oftentimes have those kind of negative interactions. So one thing I forgot to mention that people can do to kind of help prevent this problem is to use water wisely. So we don't really think about using water wisely in Western Washington because we do get a lot of rain, but any water that you pump out of the ground right now is basically reducing the stream flows. So if we can reduce the amount of water that we're using, either by taking shorter showers or not watering our lawn if it doesn't need to be watered, then we can reduce the impact on the streams.
There were actually restrictions in California. There were certain days you couldn't.
And
It's probably still going on.
some
'cause
towns around here do.
Do they?
Do
like
watering
you can only water
restrictions on
Monday,
your grass
Wednesday,
and-
Friday, or something like that. So
Yeah.
that's smart.
I guess a side note.
Sure.
Last time Seth was on here, he was talking about the count.
Yeah, summer chum count.
How'd
Yeah.
that go?
So it actually starts tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
We have our volunteer training at noon tomorrow, and the trap will be fully functional as of 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So we will be counting those fish from August 15th all the way through October 15th. So
Oh,
it'll
that might be fun.
an ongoing process, and we have lots of volunteers coming to help out with that. And summer chum are actually one of the biggest species that drought impacts because they do come back the earliest.
Oh.
So, and then followed by coho. But yeah, summer chum have a big problem with drought situations. They basically can't enter the stream to spawn, so they'll end up spawning out in the estuary where their eggs won't be as viable.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure. I'm not entirely sure, but I think
It's so
Jeff,
complicated.
Yeah.
Like, I just
Yeah.
thought any fish were out there. It's like, but there's not. It's like so fascinating to
and
me.
I think Jeff and Stephanie were gonna go do the chum count, but I'm not
Yeah.
entirely sure. They've done
I
it
think
before.
they did. Yeah, I think there's even video on the website of them. And Stephanie had a really big fish
Yeah.
in her hand, and he was like, "It's not easy, but it's fun,
Yeah,
So,
it is really fun.
so where
The-
if someone wants to volunteer, where they go?
So they can go to our website, pnwsalmoncenter.org, and there is a link called What's Happening, and you can click on that and learn about the volunteer opportunities that we have right now.
Very cool.
And are we have we had good numbers in the past?
Yeah, so this year, since it's 3 years after that drought that we had in 2015, we expect that there may be lower numbers of salmon returning. However, we've had some really good years over the last 5 years, and so we're hoping that the momentum that we have with that run of salmon, it will carry us through this drought year.
I love salmon.
Well, Mendy Harlow from the Salmon Center, thank you for coming in. Thanks for all the good info. And
yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having
teaching me more today. I love learning this about the fish out here.